Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Teevee Marketing Show. It's a weekly show to help. I'm sorry, to help share valuable information to local business owners on local marketing, digital advertising strategies, and as well as news that you can use and abuse. Excited to be here. As always, I get a little nervous. Got my lighting, got everything. It's starting to get better and tighter. My scene is a little better. I'm actually recording this. I'm going to do a time lapse later, sharing kind of like the behind the scenes. Hi. So in a little bit, you'll actually see me get up and kind of, it's an older camera, so it won't keep recording. It stops. Anywho, welcome to today's show, and today we're going to be talking about the secrets to marketing intimacy without digitally assaulting your audience and prospects. So what does that mean? At the end of the day, everything we do, all the decisions we make in marketing and business is person to person, human being to human being. Even if you're in B2B, business to business, you are more than likely dealing with another. Oh, that didn't work out. It's dead, and I'm not going to stop this. Boo. Anyways, you're dealing with an individual, another human being, and in doing so, because of that, then you absolutely positively have to develop a relationship. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. It's kind of a known thing in the marketing world. You do business with people you know, like, and trust. And all things being equal, in many cases, there could be 5 people in any given industry that are incredibly good at what they do, that could service them, that could be affordable, that give attention to their end prospect, their consumer. They could all make a damn good cake, as an example. It's just a matter of who they know, like, and trust, or who they may be choosing, what kind of bakery, pastry they may be looking to buy. So they need to be able to trust you for them to buy from you, even if it's someone else that trusts you and then refers you. That goes right into the relationship. Somebody needs to have a relationship, ideally you, with your end client. And today we're actually I'm going to use a presentation that I used years ago, and I can share it later. It's a presentation I put together for a good friend of mine. And it's called, and it's the same thing, the principles, but I actually broke it up into 12 phases because it's based on this book or study by Desmond Morris titled The Naked Ape, Zoologist's Study of the Human Animal. Because at the end of the day, it's all relationships, it's all trust. And instead of buying love and lifelong relationship and, giving children to each other, being parents and being married forever and ever, we're dealing in the currency of trust still, but delivering a product or service that the end consumer can appreciate, and ideally being able to be trusted over a long period of time. It's a relationship. Let me see here. And like all relationships, they take time to develop. It takes a lot of time in some instances, and specifically, and this is a critical piece, the more time, money, and personal information that needs to be exchanged between you and your prospect, your potential client, customer, patient, whoever, the more of that you need from them, the more trust that needs to be built. So, example, if you're selling a home, well, in many instances, for that individual, it will be the largest purchase that they make, and they're going to have to jump through so many hoops. Therefore, there needs to be a lot of trust that needs to be built. If you're just selling if you're just giving a haircut, no disrespect to my beauticians and hairstylists, but that's on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of investment of time or money. Now, in some cases, for some people, it may be an investment of time, so therefore, you still need to build that trust. But I want you to take into account and look at what you're selling, and who you're selling it to, and what do they need to give you. What is the investment they need to give you? Is it a lot of money, thousands and thousands of dollars? Is it a lot of time? Do they need to sit with you for long periods of time? Or do they need to share a lot of personal information, whether it be health, whether it be financial? What kind of information needs to be shared? And the more of that you have, the more you need to deliver value, deliver expertise over time to convince them that you are indeed the person that they should trust with their time, their money, and their personal information. You need to give them that over time. So let's do a little exercise. I'm going to run down a list of different niches, different industries, and discuss shortly, briefly with each one, the time, how the length of time needed for each to create a customer, a prospect, a lead, whatever you want to call them, depending on the industry. It just varies, right? So number one, and I touched on it just now, a realtor. A realtor needs to, they're going to be selling a person's home or buying a home. Nowadays, it's a minimum 100K, 200K, up into the millions of dollars. So that by far is one of the biggest investments. And in working with real estate agents myself, one of the things that I learned quickly is that it takes a very, very long time. In addition to the individual takes, when they first think about selling their home, for example, they start researching or buying a home. They start researching, Googling and YouTubing, whatever, to start to do the research. And in working with a client of mine in the past, it takes upwards of 18 months to 2 years before they make a final decision, on average, before they make a final decision on whether to buy or sell their home. They may not even do it, but they start thinking about it. And it's because it's such a large investment. So, as a real estate agent, what should they be doing? How long should they be in the game and anticipate that they're even going to close that client? Even if a lead comes in, that person may not be ready. They may have just filled out the information online saying that they are interested in talking to them. But it's a long period of time. So a lot of content needs to be delivered. In the old days, it was easier because there was not a lot of people doing it. The market wasn't refined enough yet, sophisticated enough yet. But now everyone does it. Everyone does this digital stuff, and they're all, like a good 90% of them say the same thing. Are you looking to buy or sell your home? And they're not standing out from that crowd, and everyone's delivering the same message. So message isn't unique. The content isn't delivering enough consistently. It's a long-term investment. Even if you do it small and in small doses, you need to invest a large amount of time, because the amount of investment from the client in terms of money, personal information, and what was my third criteria, and time, it's going to take forever. All right, hairstylist, or a barber, or a beard person, or anything related to, let's say the hairstylist. It's not going to take near as long. You could probably convince them to come in and check you out relatively quickly, maybe in that first opportunity that you get in front of them, because in that instance, it's a low investment of time, it's a low investment of energy, it's a low investment of money compared to the house, right? So you could possibly get them in to see you and check you out if you give them a coupon of some sort. So you can kind of go for the home run right there, buddy. Keep that in mind. Car dealership. Now, car dealerships have a terrible reputation. People don't trust them. And you better believe they're going to be Googling and checking out all your reviews if you're a car dealership, because they're going to have to share personal information. That's a pretty large purchase. And what else? A large purchase, time, personal information, and money. So it's a sizable amount depending on what kind of car they're looking to buy. It's the second most, usually in most cases, most expensive purchase that they'll make. So you need to be investing in content. Now, that's going to take time, all right? Attorney. So I work with attorneys, and there's two types of attorney. Well, I don't say two types, but there's two ways to look at attorneys. In some instances, maybe it's an emergency. If it's an emergency attorney, maybe a friend or a family member got locked up for something that is tragic and they need to get representation quickly, then a criminal attorney, for example, they're not gonna do as much research. So that type of attorney may actually get leads quickly and convert them into actual clients quickly, all things considered. Then there's other types of attorneys. There's immigration. The immigration actually falls into the other one, where somebody could be getting deported or being detained. Um, that person is Googling, and they're going to call you if you're that type of attorney. So the lead will convert into an actual client relatively quickly in those types of industries where the need is quick. And that's true for every industry, by the way. Emergency plumber, emergency roofer, those can convert quickly. It's not like you have to build a long-term relationship because their need is immediate, right? But back to the attorney, there's estate client, an estate attorney that I worked with. We came to learn, and I didn't realize it immediately, but estates, wills, probates, all those kinds of things, is going to take a long time because they're going to have to share their personal information. They're going to have to share their financial information, and people are real weary of that. So the best way to be able to win them over is by delivering content and valuable information. And my client was actually doing workshops, which should help, you would think. But we were working in the Hispanic community that traditionally is not very trusting of that kind of information, and they're hesitant. So we would need to continue to deliver valuable content over time, nonetheless, to buy their trust, to get them to believe in her. But because it is their financial information, their personal information, it was obvious and it was quickly apparent that we were going to have to invest more time. So depending on as an attorney, it's the same thing. It will be harder to turn them into actual prospects and clients because depending on what industry they're focused on. Italian restaurant or any restaurant, you can pretty much just go for the sale. Even offer like, hey, it's your birthday, or bring your kid in for free. Kids eat free. So for restaurants, because it's a lower investment of time, there's a high need depending on what time of day they're actually going to come in. Say if you offer some type of coupon or offer them a discount during dinner, especially the kids eat free kind of offer, it'll be easier to convert them into a customer that comes in the door and buys from you because it's a small investment of time, money, and energy. And you may actually be helping them in a moment of trying to figure out what to have for dinner. Okay? Financial advisor, as you can imagine, you're getting into their money. That's going to take some time for them to convert. Those are the kind of industries that traditionally tell me, well, I don't get people off online. And I will say also with this one, there's some legally they're bound. They're not allowed to say a lot of things. So, but let's imagine that they would still have to share a lot of information, share content, be producing consistently to be able to be trusted because of the money. Dance instructors, not a lot. It's you don't need to sell them a lot. You need to just show them that you can actually do what teach. That you're a good teacher, you're a good instructor, that you're good at what you do. It's not hard to get them to come into your studio. You can offer them a free class. It's very common, right? So you get the point, right? Let's move on. But look at that in your business. What are you selling? What are you offering? Is it something that is on the lower end in terms of investment and money and financial information, personal information being shared? Is it on the higher end? Look at that, and then you can pretty much anticipate how much content you need to produce, how consistently you need to produce it to be able to create that relationship, develop that relationship. So let's jump into how to develop that long-term relationship, and this is where we're going to start getting into the whole the study, the 12 relationship, the steps from the Naked Ape, and we're going to use a little of the terminology that they use. And the best way to do it is the best way to develop a relationship is by touching them multiple times. It's kind of like dating. You ideally go on multiple dates. You continuously show them that you are a quality human being, a quality person, a quality prospect, a match for them, right? And you are also kind of filtering to make sure that they are a good fit. So it goes both ways. So take them on multiple dates. When you first meet, you make eye contact, right? So step one is eye contact. It's a soft introduction. Maybe it's in a bar, club, social scene, maybe a church or something. And that's in the real world. In the online world, it could be some type of video that you're promoting at large to everyone in your city that meets, that's between the ages of 25 and 35. Let's say you're a yoga studio and likes yoga. So it's just you putting yourself out there. Basically, in this sense, in terms of trying to build a long-term relationship, it's what was I going to say? I just lost my train of thought. It's you just showing up to where the place is, and you putting yourself out there is the closest thing to just a traditional commercial, but only targeted at the people that you would like to have come into your place of business, that you would like to do business with. The highest, the ones that are more than likely going to become your customers, because you know your numbers, you know your audience. Facebook, YouTube, Google allows you to target those individuals a lot better. Hey, Tenacious, thank you for joining me. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions related to this. So from eye contact, you move from voice to voice. That's the next phase in the study, in the actual phases of building a relationship. So we asked them if they would like to hang out. Let's stay in touch. Like my page, follow me. In the real world, we may actually exchange your phone numbers. But in this case, I would suggest something softer, like my page, follow me. That's step 2, voice to voice. So now you have them in your little sphere of influence. They're starting to follow you around. They like your page. They're engaging. So now we move in hand to hand. Now you're touching, right? Now it's a little more engaging. You're a little more like, hey, accidental contact, right? Footsies. That's normal. It's very much a normal thing. And you build more trust this way. You get them to show interest just as much as you're putting all this content out there for that reason. Get them to kind of raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested. I like you. You like me. Hey. You start sharing content. They're in your sphere of influence. They like your page. They follow you. They're in your audience, right? And that's what we talked about that in the past. So you start to build that trust, which we also talked in a previous episode. You share a testimonial video. You share a testimonial of any sort of a piece of content, but a video would be powerful. You start sharing stories of people that you've helped. You share stories of your day-to-day. What are you up to? What are you doing? What's in the news? What's related to your business that they should be aware of if you're an attorney of some sort? What type of laws are coming through that, hey, maybe you don't know this, but the state of Texas passed this law, and you need to be aware of it so that way you don't find yourself on the wrong side of something bad happening, right? You share stories about what you do, personal stories perhaps. Why you do what you do. Why is this important to you? What does it do for you? And hopefully it's something that benefits them. It's something inspirational if you have that story. Some people do. For me, for example, I have come to learn that I love marketing because it allows me to help people. Like, I love helping people, but it allows me to help them like build their dreams. So many people go into business because they want to be able to provide for the families. They want to help people. They want to alleviate their problems, their end consumers' problem. I get to help fulfill their dream. That's incredibly fulfilling for me. And in the process, I do things that I love, create copy, write ads, help them come up with ideas to help them get that message to their audience. That's why I do what I do. And in doing so, I get paid well, and I can be at home with my children, be involved in their day-to-day lives. That's why I do what I do. Okay? If you share stories like that and get them to connect with you, get them to like you, right? Know, like, and trust you. Go back to the beginning of the video if you didn't catch that. You want to create that relationship. Okay? Next. Now you're going arm to shoulder like, hey girl, hey boy. Now you're getting a little more intimate. You're bringing them in closer. And from here on, it's pretty much the same. You continue to share more content to kind of like replicate that same behavior that you would in a dating kind of like situation. You would actually do it in the digital world. You share more content, more information about what you do. Everything that I just stated, you share more of it. You invite them to a Facebook Live. Hi, guys. You share information. You make yourself more vulnerable. And every time that they're doing this, they're investing their own time, right? So it's chunking down at that need to invest time so you can build that trust. Knowing someone and seeing them repetitively, little by little, builds that trust. It's kind of one of those factors of influences. Just the repeat touches, the repeat seeing. You keep seeing my face, and you keep seeing me talk, and you're comfortable with my voice and my personality. That creates that comfort. That creates that trust. All right. Next stage, hand to waist. This is when you're like, hey, You hold them here, right? Or you hold each other. Now we're getting more intimate. Now we're getting really vulnerable, right? And here in this case, in the digital world, you ask them to make some type of commitment. It can be some small commitment. Visit your website, right? To read an article, for example. So now you're getting them to visit your website, and hopefully by now you watched my last week's video where I talk about a website design, ideas, things you need to have in place to help convert them into a prospect. But they visit your website. They read this piece of content. It's a little more, especially now that we do a lot of our content distribution online via the social media platforms. A lot of people don't leave Facebook. They don't leave YouTube. They don't leave Instagram. So asking them to leave is kind of a little commitment. So you're asking them, hey, let's go on a little date. Go to my website. And while there, asking them to sign up to a newsletter. Hey, let's stay in touch. So now you're adding them to the audience, your newsletter audience. That's a little more engaging. People are a little more hesitant to submit their email to these newsletters. But by now, you will have already gained enough trust from them that it's not a big deal. They know that you deliver valuable content. They trust what you share. And I mean, you got your hand on their waist. It's a little more intimate, so they trust you. Giving you their email, is not a big deal. Perhaps even getting them to buy a small price product if you have an ebook. Tenacious, I'm thinking about you right now. Maybe a small ebook with 4 or 5 recipes on what they can prepare for themselves that's healthy, and it's $9, right? Something simple, low commitment, and it gets them to like, hey, I trust her. I trust this person. I'm curious. I'll give them $9. It's a small commitment, and in the process, you also start to find out that they're a little more serious. They're actually pulling out their credit card for you, right? So do that here. After you've already built some rapport with them and some trust, you can get them to buy a small priced item, and now you know that they're serious, you're serious. You know, it's about to get heated up in here, right? Hand to face, even more like now you're touching, right? You got your hands on each other's face. This is another level. It's escalating quickly. In some cases, I'll be honest, if you're in the market or my target audiences in the market, they've been through a lot already. They're aware of the problem. They're aware of their need. They know that they need help. By the time they discover me, for example, I've had this happen. They go through my content. They visit my website. They go to my Facebook. They go to my YouTube, and they basically escalate from being strangers to being legitimate prospects that they're messaging me or reaching out to me to work. So this, in most instances, can take a few months worth of content. But if you already have that content out there, this is important. If you already have a ton of content out there, they're able to kind of go through it and build that trust without you even having to physically be involved in it. But the content lives forever. So I've been able to close clients who come to me that by the time they come to me, they trust me immensely. They visited my website, visited all my social media platforms, visited my Yelp, read my testimonials, visited my Facebook. So they literally know me very, very well, and they've taken themselves from being a stranger to being a potential lover in the marketing sense, in the real world sense. They want to do business. Okay, so hand to face, you're here, right? You're offering higher value. You're giving more content. It's longer. Maybe it's 10 minutes. This is a longer investment right here. So most of these are 30 minutes, right? So you offer them to come into a Facebook Live. That's going to take 30 minutes. Anything or workshops. Bringing them into a workshop that you may be having, not 3 day, but like a 1 hour, 2 hour workshop where you're teaching them something. So now they may not be paying for it. Maybe it's free. Maybe it's $50 for something small, all things considered, for your time. But now you're giving more information, but they're investing a little money. They're investing their time. Personal information, not so much maybe, depending on what kind of industry you're in. But believe me, they really like you by this point if they show up to your workshops. Face to face. Now you're here, right? You're making out, right? You're making out with your prospect. It is a ongoing process. You went from hand to waist, hand to face, and face to face. You're smooching, right? You're making out. Y'all, there's a lot of vulnerability. There's a lot of trust. Personal information may have already been shared. One would think. one would hope if you're doing this right, if you're making out digitally, you're sharing more information, you're sharing more content. Now this is a lot of just continue sharing that. They're taking it, they're devouring it, they're enjoying it, and they're appreciating it. And then they're showing their appreciation by investing more and more time with you. Hand a body, now you're like really like, hello, right? More content, perhaps a longer workshop, 3-day workshops. You're asking them to buy a full-fledged product, thousands of dollars. Maybe by now they're ready to actually make that commitment and buying that home from you. You have shown over the last year, if they're in the buying a home example, that you have shown over the last year or two that you know your stuff, you've helped people, you've helped them, you've made them feel more educated, you made them feel like you know what you're talking about, and they feel like they know more because of you. And in the process, you've entertained them. So you can then, you've got hands of the body. Now you're really, you need to get a room, right? And you need to just close the deal. But that's what happens with content, and that's what you're able to do if you develop it. Now, it takes time. Like any relationship, it takes time. For those of you that just joined me, you can go back and watch the replay. You can go for the close and go for the sell a lot easier if the cost of that item you're selling is on the lower end. If it's under $100, if it's $20, $30 for a haircut for a guy, because we don't care too much about too much, just show us that you help guys and you give good haircuts and we'll show up. But if you're trying to sell a home, which is what I was referring to in this example, it's hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. They want to make sure they can trust you. And that's why usually, especially on the $1 million home, they're going with someone that is like they themselves are brands. The realtor is a brand. They can trust them. They're like huge. They've sold homes for P. Diddy or for Dr. Dre or some rock star. They're buying them from those individuals because they know how to manage individuals that have high net worth, right? That's the kind of stuff you're trying to portray yourself as. You want to be a brand that can help them. And I guess that's the big message here is your brand precedes you. And when you get referred or when they think of anyone that's related to your industry, they think of you. They think of you as the best chef, the best dance instructor in Dallas, the best roofer, because you have become a brand and you help almost all their friends. All right. The next steps are mouth to body and body to body. I'll let you use your imagination there. By now, you are in a long-term relationship. You're getting married. You're getting hitched. And in the digital marketing business world, that's basically they trust you with everything. They give you access to everything. They will show up to whatever you put on. They will refer you every single time. They will talk highly of you. They will give you reviews. That right there takes a long time. And you will probably have helped them in a way. You've sold their home. You sold them a car. You made them, because there's so many dancers in here. You made them top tier dancers. So they will always refer you, and you have a long-term relationship. And you have the honeymoon and everything. And you do that. You do all this with content. It takes a large investment in time to produce it. But if you make it chunk size, you can just pull out your phone and start doing Facebook Lives, sharing your stories. You don't have to have a high production. I don't have a high production, but I got lighting, I got sound, I got all types of things here because I want to make sure you hear me well. But it's not necessary. And in fact, I will say this, and it wasn't in my script. People really want to do business that are real, with people that are real and authentic. And you know your stuff, obviously, but that they feel like they get to know you as an individual. If you are that kind of business, and that it could be an attorney, that they're speaking real, like a real human beings, and not like all the legalese. If you're a chef, if you're a dancer, if you're a marketer, whatever you are, if you're speaking clearly to them, honestly, just cutting through the crap that is all that noise that we have online and making them feel like they can trust you with everything, then you will stand out. That's how you stand out as an individual, because no one is you. I stated earlier, like the truth is there could be 5 bakers that do a fantastic job of baking a fantastic cake. and everyone has 5-star rating, but they're going to choose you if they trust you, if you've been in their face, if you're creating value, if they see what you've done, the happy faces of people that you've helped. That's how you stand out, is by being you and by sharing you, and because that's what it's about, creating relationships with you as an individual, as a brand, as a service provider. All right. So basically, you complete them. You want to make them feel like you were sent from the above. And you help them become a better person and fulfill that need that they had when they came to you, when they found you, when they met you at that bar, when they met you at that social gathering at church. You complete them. That's the way you want to make them feel. So big takeaways: be conscious of what type of business you have. What's the cost to what you have to offer? More expensive, more content you need to produce, and more trust that needs to be built through that content. Less expensive, you can go for the sale. Go for that one night stand, right? But the key to all of this is make sure that you provide a good service. I think this may have been some video I produced. If you don't provide a good service, you're going to screw yourself. The world will know, and people will, I won't say report, but they're going to talk, they're going to share. So at the core of this, make sure you're making them feel good. You're giving them the service that you say you would when they hire you, when they bring you in. But be conscious in terms, like, go over that quick sale. If you're a restaurant, give them a coupon, a discount code of some sort to come in today. Bring your family in, bring them in, kids eat free with this coupon. And now, you serve them, you give them good food, they'll be back, right? Now you can start developing that long-term relationship. Basically, jump a few steps. And make it about them. Make your content about them. How can you help them? How have you helped others like them? And this is actually an idea for a piece of content I want to create. Too many people are focused about themselves, not their audience, right? They're telling stories about themselves and how great they are, or what school they went to, and how many years they've been in business. And you have to make your client the hero of the story, because they need to see themselves in your product, in your what you have to offer. Make them the hero, not yourself. Okay, but obviously in that story, you were there to help make them a hero. You were there to help shine a spotlight on them. But you do that, and you follow these steps, and you follow these strategies. You create content to create that relationship. Over time, I guarantee you will succeed. The problem is that it takes time. I've said that numerous times, and you have to stay afloat in the meantime, right? And that's why I think many businesses fail. They just cannot stay afloat long enough for this to kind of come together. You can kind of jumpstart it and get ahead of everyone by going out of your way to advertise, promote your stuff, or just guerrilla market it and get your stuff out in front of more people as possible. So that way they know that you exist, and you grow. They hire you when it's time to hire someone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I have 4 of you still here. I appreciate you. Do any of you have any questions before I sign out? I'll give you a minute or so. All right, so no questions. I appreciate you for tuning in, whether now, whether on the podcast, whether on YouTube. Thank you very much. If you need any help, feel free to reach out. You can find me at www.rockstar.marketing. If you're a small business, I specialize in legal, dental, chiropractors, that kind of thing. Reach out. Feel free. Share this with anyone that could benefit from this. And remember, if you're in business and you're not marketing consistently and effectively, are you really in business? Take care. Have a great day, and I'll see you in another week. Bye-bye.